Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and from unboxings.com. Here I have the new Nokia C6. Now this is a follow-up unboxing video. You may have seen the one that we did a few days ago in London with Nokia and One World, where we actually unboxed a giant unbox video, if you like, actually on Millennium Bridge in London. So this one's going to have a little bit more detail than the one we did in London. So first and foremost, handsets on top, and we'll come back to that in just a second. Down the side we have the battery, and that's a 1200 milliamp hour battery. Underneath we have a set of headphones, or a wired headset in fact, so it's got a 4-pole 3.5mm jack on one end, and then an inline microphone with push button and with a little clip to clip it onto clothing, and then the headphones themselves, which are quite plastic, but they are fairly Nokia typical. I'm sure most people will want to use their own headphones rather than a supplied headset. We have a charger which has got the very small style sort of bullet connector there for the charger, and obviously this is a European style wall socket plug. But when you buy one here in the UK, obviously full retail, it will be a UK plug. We have a short USB to micro USB cable for synchronizing and connecting up to your PC to transfer media to and from the handset. And there's the manual, which is just a simple black and white printed manual, and then OV guide, quick start to OV services, which is there. So that's all we have in the box itself. So let's take a look at the handset. So on the front we have a 3.2-inch display, which is actually 360 by 640 pixels. Touchscreen, but it is a resistive touchscreen, which I think disappoints a few people, but it is resistive. Below that we have the main keys, so we have the send and end or answer and hang up buttons, and then a menu button in the centre. The hang up button doubling as a power button too. You've got proximity sensors at the top and the ambient light sensor at the top there also. The screen protector is already actually on this screen at the moment. Looking around the device, on the bottom we have the socket for the charger, obviously where we plug in that very small Nokia connector there. And there is a little eyelet also for a lanyard. On the right hand side there's a dedicated camera button. There's the little switch, spring-loaded switch there, which basically puts the handset into sleep or brings it out of sleep mode, turning the screen on and off. Up and down volume control rocker. On top, have a cover over the micro USB connector, and the 3.5mm headphone socket on the top also. And on the left-hand side, we have a cover over a micro SD memory card socket, which does have a 2GB micro SD memory card, and that will support up to 16GB micro SDHC memory cards there. On the back we have a 5MP autofocus camera and also a flash. There's a grill there which is actually for the loudspeaker. Back cover pops off relatively easily, and although it's plastic, it's fairly secure. You can see the other sort of side of the memory card socket there, and this is a SIM card socket just on the sort of SIM card slot on the top. Battery pops in place like so, and you do need to remove the battery to get to the SIM card, which is pretty standard and is pretty much a good thing really, although obviously you can access the micro SD card from the outside without having to remove the battery, which is pretty good. And the other feature, well, I'm just going to turn it on because it'll take a little while to start up. The other feature is obviously the spring-loaded sliding mechanism for the full QWERTY keyboard. So we've got 4 rows of keys, and up D-pad on the right hand side just falling under your thumb, which is good for navigation around the display. You notice that the space bar has been moved nearer to the centre of the keyboard, which is again a good thing. Previous like the N900 and a few other sort of the Nokia handsets of late with the QWERTY keyboards have had them offset to the right, but they've pushed it back to the centre. And you notice there's also a little split in the keypad there as well, which isn't quite in the right place in my opinion, because we're not actually splitting the keys down the middle as you'd expect, certainly with the ergonomic keyboards which would have the split, so that it was half the keys under each hand. But no, nevertheless that's how they've split them, just slightly offset there. I guess that's more to do with the mechanism than anything else, but who's to know. Anyway, so that's your keyboard. It does feel quite good, nice and tactile. We'll see there. I'm pressing. You can see it's coming up on the screen. We'll exit out of there and close that up. As you can see, once we've started up, it's got a fairly familiar looking display in terms of what the items are on the home page. So you've got your clock and a few shortcuts there. These would be speed dials just below, Facebook, your emails, and a series of other things underneath, such as your calendar, camera, music, and media, or in actual fact that's image gallery. Pushing the button in the centre brings up the dial pad, and obviously we can dial the numbers, and there's a bit of a haptic feedback. There's a little vibrate inside when I'm actually touching the screen, and I have to say actually the resistive screen is pretty sensitive. I mean, obviously being resistive, it does require pressure in order to make it work, and doing so with a thumbnail there is a lot better, but only a little bit of pressure required from the middle of your finger, so it's pretty good. One of the most sensitive resistive screens I've come across. Bring up the options at the side, and that just allows us to actually vary the contents. And we'll go to the right, we've got contacts, OV, and groups. Nothing obviously in there at the moment because the first time I've actually turned the device on. Pushing the button in the middle brings up the menu. So that brings up obviously calendar, web, maps, settings, video and TV, and so on. I'm going to go into settings, and we're going to go to connectivity, and we're going to turn wireless LAN scanning on. So we're going to scan for a wireless network, and let's see if we can connect to this one, requiring double tap to actually pick up some of these things. So let's just see if we can connect this up, and after a few seconds we actually connect. Alright, saying wireless LAN connection lost. Let's cancel that. That's a bit disappointing because I'm not particularly far from that access point. Let's try another one and connect to this one. Okay, second time lucky, we appear to have connected, and we've connected to that access point, so we can come back out of here now. Let's just close this up and exit. We go to the web. We'll check out our web page. So we're going to go to your web page and type in tracymac.co.uk. We'll actually let that go and connect. It's coming up relatively quickly. It seems to be that the browser loads the whole page before displaying anything rather than loading it on the fly. I don't know if that's an option to change, but there we go. So it's loaded the page. It looks like it's rendered it quite well. Didn't take too long, but then again I am using obviously Wi-Fi and connecting over broadband, so it does look quite good. We can zoom to full page, so we can zoom right out, and I've got the bar at the side there, as you can see, and that goes away. So that allows us to zoom in, and obviously we can scroll through, and that looks quite good. I mean, the screen is certainly large enough, I would say, at 640. It's doing a very good job at rendering this. I can see the text quite clearly. Images are loading clearly enough for me to actually navigate through, and if I want to, I can obviously zoom in to the relevant part of the page, scroll around and see it more easily. So the browser seems to be pretty good, in fact. So we're going to come out of here, go back to the home screen, see what else we've got installed. Got some other applications here. So what we've got a podcasting application, search, traveller, recorder, location. Let's try YouTube. Haven't looked at YouTube on a Nokia device for some time, so let's see how this works. So it's obviously connecting. Let's do a search for. Obviously, when I'm opening up this way round, we can have a numeric keypad or handwriting, or I can switch round and go to the keyboard. There we go, and do a search. Leo D Unboxing, Leo D being my YouTube channel name. And there we go, and we can see some of the unboxing videos that we've got there. And we can see the Nokia C6 mega unboxing video, which is the one we recorded in London in public. Let's just see if that plays. There we go. Taking a few seconds. There we go. Click to go into full screen mode, and we can play in full screen, as you can see there. So that's pretty cool. And let's just get a few seconds into the video. There we go. As you can see, that's the giant unboxing video that we recorded earlier in the week. So that's pretty cool. So let's come out of there and go back home. Obviously, when we have the keyboard open, it works in landscape, so it does change the arrangement of the home screen. And obviously when we swing back, that's pretty cool. I do like the desktop or home screen arrangement on the Nokia devices. I think it's very good. I think it's very neat, and obviously there is a certain amount of customization that you can make. Let's just have one final dabble in the applications and have a look at a few other things. So we've got Shazam in there. We've got CNN video, Facebook and MySpace's application, High Five, Friendster, Slideshow, Bloomberg, and that's about it. So that's just a quick look around there. So let me run down the specification for you. It's a 434 MHz processor. It's an ARM processor. As I say, 360 by 640 display. Overall size 113mm from top to bottom, 53mm wide, and just under 17mm thick. Weighs 150 grams, which feels kind of heavy actually, but I think reassuringly so. It feels robust, and I think that in terms of the actual construction, it seems to be well made. Seems to be, you know, robust in construction. The mechanism feels good, and I think it will last. It certainly appears that way at the moment. Anyway, we'll perhaps comment on that later when we've sort of had it in general use. Battery time or battery life is listed at 7 hours for talk time, 400 hours in standby. Say 5 megapixel autofocus camera on the rear. We can record video as well as taking stills. Got a built-in FM radio, and email support. Will use POP3 IMAP4 and Exchange. Built-in memory is 128 meg of RAM and 200 meg of internal ROM storage. However, we do have the 2 gig micro SD card supplied. 2G is quad band, and 3G is dual band. Obviously we have built-in Wi-Fi as you've seen. Bluetooth 2 with A2DP support. Micro USB connector supports USB 2.0. City GPS, Nokia Maps, accelerometer, web browser, and a few other bits and pieces that you've already seen, including flashlight 3.1 support. So that is a very quick tour around and a little demo of the Nokia C6. We'll have a full review for you over the next couple of weeks. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/TracyandMatt, where we'll have some announcements when we've got anything new to tell you about Nokia and the Nokia box, which we're going to be doing more of over the next couple of weeks apparently. What we're going to be doing yet, we don't know. So follow us to find out. I have some more videos and reviews for you over on tracyandmatt.co.uk very soon, but for now, thanks for watching.
Bitdefender is dedicated to protecting people's digital lives, so working with unboxings.com to help preview and review the latest technology is a perfect fit.